today I want to give you guys an update on like my anatomy scan visit, my 21 week doctor's appointment, and like how this pregnancy has been going. I find it way easier to share these updates in just dedicated videos because I know that not everybody cares about all of the details of my pregnancy. But for those of you who are pregnant, maybe this helps, or maybe at some point you become pregnant and then you reference this video. So that's why every once in a while I like to like sit down and just dedicate some time to this. Sean is sleeping, so I'm trying to be a little bit quiet. At this point, like none of my clothes is really fitting me. That is the bump right there. I'm trying really hard to not go out and buy like a ton of maternity clothes. I'm just trying to buy stuff like extra big and like loose and flowy, but I am very uncomfortable already. I'm pretty sure I reference it like every vlog, every Instagram story. Like I feel like my bump has gotten huge and I'm only halfway there, which is wild. But that was kind of the case even with Sean. I remember my last pregnancy, like I was huge at the end. Like please tell me you guys remember how huge I got at like 41 weeks because I went super long with Sean. Anyway, today sitting down filming, I am 21 weeks. I'm 21 weeks in 2 days today, I think. 21 weeks in like 3 days. But I did go to the doctor for my anatomy scan at 20 weeks and change, and I got some news and I got some stuff. It's probably gonna affect like the remainder of the pregnancy. So let's chat about that. So I went in, and first of all, my weight honestly, like even as big as my belly is, I've only gained like 3 or 4 pounds in this pregnancy, which I don't even know, like the math does not math. I don't know how that happens, because when I got pregnant, I was weighing 137 pounds. And when I was weighed at my 20-week appointment or whatever, I think I was either 140 or 141, but like I hadn't even gained 5 pounds. So again, don't tell me how, because like the belly is huge. I think overall, like, you know, they always ask you like, how you feeling? How's everything going? I have been feeling pretty good. Like when everybody asks like, how are you feeling? I'm pretty good. I'm just tired. And it's just hard because I don't know if it's this pregnancy itself is making me tired or just the fact that I have to chase after Sean and Jackson and Riley. Like Sean is kicking my butt, you guys. Having an 18-month-old while you are pregnant is no joke. Either I forgot about that completely or I never had to deal with like that level of toddlerhood when I was pregnant. But I am exhausted and it's just very physically demanding. So just keep that in mind if you're like thinking about getting pregnant or you're trying to space out children. Having a 1.5-year-old and being pregnant is rough, it is hard. That's why like I often find myself very winded. Like my house is a 2-story house, you guys know that. And I hate it so much, especially in pregnancy, because I'm constantly going up and down the stairs, and just going down a flight of stairs, I am winded. So lots of that. Like even yesterday at church, like when we were in mass and we were kneeling and we're standing, like just the change in positions, I was getting kind of dizzy. I was kind of getting lightheaded. So I know that has to probably do with like a lot of the blood circulation and like just how your body changes during pregnancy. So I know I have to take it easy. I have to like listen to my body and rest as much as I can. It's just kind of hard to do that when you have other kids that you have to take care of. But overall, everything else has been good. I have noticed, it's a little TMI, but I've noticed a lot of discharge in this pregnancy, which I think is very normal. But lots of like wetness down there. I really hope all of you guys watching are girls, but just so you know, that's been happening. I finally, this is like totally random too, but I finally got to the point where I feel like my boobs are sore, which is very wild for me because with all my other pregnancies, if I'm not mistaken, but at least with some of my other pregnancies, my like first signal to myself that I was pregnant or that I could be pregnant was the fact that my boobs were like on fire. They were super, super sore. And then I would take the test and then I would be pregnant. Or like right after I would test positive, my boobs would be instantly sore. So that was always like a telltale pregnancy symptom for me. But this time around, that didn't happen. And I think it was because I was nursing Sean still, even while I got pregnant. That's really the only thing that I can think of as to why it would be different. But now I have officially weaned Sean from nursing, not at night, not at any of his like put downs or anything. So he is not touching my boobs anymore, which is fantastic. I needed that to happen because I was starting to get a little worried about it. So he is weaned, and now suddenly I feel like the pregnancy boobs. Like I finally feel like my boobs are sore and they're getting bigger. So that was just like something interesting in this pregnancy. But really everything else has been good. I haven't had any spotting. I've had some like just uncomfortable kind of like cramping. Every once in a while I'll get a little bit of lower back pain, but nothing like insane, nothing crazy, nothing that's like had me rushing to the hospital or like something is wrong. Thank the Lord, things have been good with baby and with me so far. So I went to my anatomy scan and they saw baby. They started recording all of the different things that they're looking for, which is amazing, like to see like how much of this tiny human you can see like via ultrasound. It's the coolest thing. We're able to see the brain, the heart. But just a heads up, sometimes when you go in for the anatomy scan, it's very common that it happens where they're looking for all these pictures and they're looking for all these things to measure of the baby. And sometimes, depending on the position of the baby, the day that you go to get your ultrasound, they may not be able to get every measurement or see every picture that they want to see. So they may request that you come back. It doesn't necessarily mean that something's wrong. It's just like, hey, we didn't get to see everything that we wanted to see. So that kind of was the case when I went. Baby was in a horrible position. She did not want to cooperate. She was kind of like folded over herself like a little sandwich, kind of doing like one of these, but like upside down. Her legs were over her head. And it was just really hard to get a lot of the measurements like accurately, I think. But because of that, when they read the measurements and they read like all the average, whatever, the measurements of baby, they were like, we're gonna want you to go see the high-risk doctor because the baby's measuring kind of small. So initially I didn't really panic about that because I don't have really huge babies. I'm not a huge person. Joe's not a huge person. Like, I don't expect that the doctor's ever gonna tell me that my kid is like in the 90th percentile. I think that actually happened with Sean when they were looking at his head circumference with baby number 3, if you're new here. And they were like, oh, he's got a big head. His head is like in the 90th percentile. And I'm like, how did this happen? Because like, we are tiny people. Overall, like, I'm not expecting huge babies. So that didn't worry me as long as like she was healthy, right? They kept saying everything that we can see, like her heart function, like everything that we're able to see looks good. So we're not really concerned too much, but go get the follow-up anyway. They were gonna have me come in a week anyway to like redo some of the things that they weren't able to get via the ultrasound. But instead of like going back to my normal doctor, they're like, we're gonna send you to the high risk, the MFM. So last week I went to MFM for these redo of the pictures, redo of the ultrasounds. Everybody was super nice. It was super cool, super chill. And they were able to get better measurements. Baby was in a much better position. So the tech was super thrilled with her. And again, everything that they saw baby-wise looked good, which was a huge blessing to me. They said, I think overall, she's still like small. Like, she's still small. I think her overall percentile or whatever is like 23rd percentile maybe, so still on the smaller side, but the doctor was like, she looks good, she looks fine. What they did discover at MFM was that I have a short cervix again in this pregnancy. So that's kind of the issue that now we are having to tackle, that we are having to deal with. I don't know how many of you guys have been here long enough to remember that I had this same issue when I was pregnant with my second, with Jackson. I had a short cervix then, and that was a brand new thing to me. I didn't even know that that existed, that you can have a short cervix, what the risks are when you have a short cervix. That was a whole new world to me back then. So like now at least I know what it is, but then I don't know, it's kind of not even like a blessing because now I'm like more freaked out about it. But whatever, I'll continue. So my cervix is measuring between 2.1 and 2.5 centimeters, which to their standards is still relatively short. Some doctors use like the 2 centimeters as like the threshold for whether they consider things short or not. My doctor considers anything under 2.5 is something that we should at least monitor and watch and make sure that it's not decreasing. If you're new to this world of like short cervix or like thinking about the length of your cervix, again, I didn't know that my cervix had to be a specific length. Basically what they're concerned about with your cervix is like, the cervix is the thing that like holds the baby in. So if you have a short cervix, then the weight of the baby can like basically like cause your cervix to open. And then basically like the risk is that you go into preterm labor or that baby comes out sooner than baby should. So there's different things that they can do. Some people get a cerclage, which is like a stitch that you get up there. Some people go on progesterone. Like there's certain things that they can do, but also the timing, like how far along you are in your pregnancy can sometimes dictate what options are available. So given that I am 21 weeks today, I think she said they don't like to do cerclages like after week 24. Maybe I'm getting that wrong, but it's like relatively soon that we would have to make that decision if we were to go that route. She still doesn't think I'm there yet where she is gonna automatically recommend the cerclage. But what she did do is she put me on progesterone, which I never did with Jackson. I think with Jackson, my cervix went down to like 2.3, 2.4, if I'm not mistaken. But they didn't do any intervention with me with Jackson. Like I didn't have to go on progesterone. I didn't have to get a cerclage. Like we just monitored it every like couple weeks or so. And like I went full term with Jackson. So that kind of has my mind at ease in the sense that I went full term with Jackson, even with a short cervix, and with all my other kids, with all my other pregnancies, I've gone full term. So that's usually a good indication that like, you know, my cervix at least has been in the past pretty strong to like carry my babies to term. But again, this is my 4th pregnancy. So the question is like, is my cervix getting weaker? Is it going to become an issue where it starts getting smaller or it starts funneling? So we're obviously going to monitor it. And then in the meantime, yeah, she put me on progesterone, which is like a little pill. It looks like a pill that you would take, you know, in your mouth, only I have to put it vaginally, like I have to insert it vaginally every night before bed. So I'm doing that for a week. And then when I go back this week to see MFM again, they'll take a look at my cervix again. They do that with like the vaginal ultrasound, the little probe that they put in there. And then they'll measure my cervix and then see like, did it change? Has there been like a decrease? Is it looking like it's, you know, stable? And then she'll make some kind of determination then on like what other options there would be for me. The one thing she did tell me, which was very unfortunate, is that at least up until this appointment, like she wanted me on pelvic rest, which means no sex, no orgasm, like nothing happening down there for me, which is tragic, which is kind of sad because I've never been told like I have to be on pelvic rest. The reason why they tell you that sometimes, if there's a risk for preterm labor, if there's a risk of, you know, something like that happening, is because when you orgasm, like your uterus contracts and it can stimulate labor. But yeah, I'm on pelvic rest, which is not fun. And I'm anticipating, like I'm trying to mentally prepare myself that she's gonna tell me that I'm gonna have to do that for many, many more weeks. Obviously I'll, you know, expect the worst and pray for the best. Pray that I don't have to do that my entire pregnancy. But obviously, like my first priority would be to make sure that baby stays in there cooking and that she's healthy and she's safe. So if I have to do that, then I suppose I will. But I'm sure if you've experienced it before, like, you know that that's not like a fun situation to be in. So really that's kind of what we're dealing with now. I'm very nervous as to like what the results are gonna be when I go in on Thursday. And I'm praying that, I don't know, like I really don't want to have to get a cerclage put in, because there are risks associated with that. Not that it's common, and I'm sure, like, again, if you have a story of your own where you had a short cervix and you had some kind of intervention done, or you didn't have an intervention done, like, and it worked out great, then please let me know, share in the comments so that I can kind of, you know, put my mind at ease, because then I went to Google the other night and that was not good. There are some risks like associated with that, because you can, when they're stitching you up, like there is a small risk that you can like puncture the membranes and then like the baby would be born. And at this point, we're not at the point of viability, so it would be a loss. And like, obviously that's the horrible, like the worst thing that could happen at this point. So we want to keep baby safe. I want to keep her cooking in there, and I'm praying that that will be the case. So keep us in your prayers, keep baby in your prayers. Because other than that, like I've had a very good pregnancy. We're just kind of having to deal with that. And then I'm new to taking progesterone. So now that I'm taking this, I'm starting to feel some effects from it. Let me know if you guys ever experienced any effects on progesterone. But I've never even had to take progesterone, like even at the start of a pregnancy, you know, like sometimes the doctors will put you on progesterone at the beginning, like if you're prone to miscarrying, or, you know, if you've experienced loss before, like sometimes they put you on progesterone to help you maintain a pregnancy at the beginning of a pregnancy. I have no experience with that. So I started taking it, and already like I kind of feel extra tired, extra fatigued. And I was at church yesterday and I was starting to feel like I'm kind of dizzy. The bottle does say like, this can make you dizzy, like don't operate a vehicle. Like it has all those like warning signs. And I'm hoping that that's like just something that my body needs to get used to, because like, dude, I can't be more tired than I already am. Like I can't, you know, like I still have to function. I have to take care of the other kids. So yeah, I'm just hoping that that overall will get better, and we'll see. Like if she sees me on Thursday and it's like, hey, I just want you to keep taking the progesterone out of precaution, maybe I'll just be on that my whole pregnancy, or as long as she wants me to, or maybe she'll say that I can stop it. I really don't know. At this point, it's just like a waiting game. But I at least was happy that overall anatomy scan wise, like baby wise, everything looked good. Like all of our blood tests, all of the genetic testing that we did with baby, like all of the, you know, preliminary tests looked good. It's just a matter now of trying to make sure that she stays in there, that we give her time to just, you know, develop, and that she doesn't come out early. Again, I don't remember how many of you guys have been here since Jackson, but I documented all of this on my channel, which is wild to think about. But when I was pregnant with Jackson at 35 weeks, I did go into the hospital, and it was like a preterm labor scare. And I remember that at that point, because I was kind of having like just some contracting, and it wasn't kind of going away. And then the doctor ended up telling me, go to the hospital. They monitored me, and they're like, yeah, you're having some contractions. They ended up, if I'm not mistaken, because now, you know, like pregnancy stuff like starts to blur, but if I'm not mistaken, I can go back into that video and check, but they gave me some shots to like stop labor. I remember getting some shots. And at that point, at 35 weeks, they were like, if you were to go into preterm labor early, like we can give the baby some steroid shots, so that way it kind of activates like the lungs to kind of make sure that the baby's lungs are being developed, whatever. Like their concern at that point was Jackson's lungs. All of that to say, like I had this scare, whatever, but I ended up carrying Jackson full term, and Jackson was born fine, didn't need any NICU time. So again, I think the odds are in my favor that I've carried other children to term, but it's still not a fun thing to have to deal with. Of like, I kind of feel like anytime I get like a little cramp now, I'm like, is this something having to do with my cervix, or am I, you know, gonna be going into preterm labor? Like when they tell you that information, you're still kind of nervous about it, and it's kind of like always in the back of your head. So we will see. I will keep you posted, but other than that, everything is good, I guess. If you have any specific questions, let me know, because at this point, like I don't know what else I can share. Like I've done this, you know, 3 other times. I've shared in other pregnancies a lot more in depth and detail, but it also kind of feels like, I kind of feel like bad saying it, but like I don't have as much time to focus on this pregnancy. Like sometimes I just kind of forget, you know, like I don't remember as often to like take the pictures and do like the progression stuff, because I just don't have time. Like this is, again, baby number 4, and I've got so much else going on, and sometimes like I forget. Like the other day, someone asked me, when are you due? Which I'm due in June, and I thought, like, to me in my brain, June was so far away, like so far away. And now we're almost in February, which means I've got February, March, April, May, and like I'm due in the beginning part of June. So like I really only have 4 months. Like that's gonna go by so fast. Like that's insane. And there's still so much that I wanna do. I wanna organize clothes and go through like, you know, old baby clothes and get her nursery, like her part of her nursery ready. And then I start to spiral because I'm like, that's gonna go by so fast. So yeah, that's really all I have. I'm not gonna sit here and take up any more of your time. Thanks again just for thinking about us and for always asking how I'm doing. If I missed anything, which I'm sure I did, and you have specific questions, please, again, let me know in the comments. And if you've been through this, if you've been through a short cervix situation, things resolved or things were okay, please encourage me so that I'm not freaking out, especially like from now till Thursday till they see me again. So I'll keep you posted, but that's it for now. So I love your faces. Thanks for being here, and I will see you guys soon in my next video. Bye guys.